back to Chance and Opportunity.
Welcome back.
Y'all come on in the room. Take a seat. We got a disclaimer before we start because we ain't gonna tolerate some things in the room. I know we got some haters, but we're gonna help y'all too because y'all need the help. But first, before we start, I'm gonna shut the comments off so that I can talk to y'all. And then once I'm done, then I'm gonna open the comments back up so that y'all can interact with us. You understand? So, healing with NaNa. I'm here with my beautiful sister, Malia, and I'm also here with the rest of my pack of Carbonation. They're here in front of us, all of the other women in Carbonation. They're here on the other side of the camera. Y'all can't see them, but we're actually sitting in a circle right now. And we're gonna go around so y'all can see everybody. But yeah, we're gonna be healing today. It's gonna be a lot of healing today. So alright, we back. Nu did not drop the song yet. He did. Alright, Nu dropped the song. He dropped the song. A lot of people coming in the room now. After everybody come in, actually, I'm gonna just cut the comments off now, and I'm gonna just start because we got a good amount of people in the room. And anybody else who, anybody else who comes in the room, y'all can like rewind it, whatever. But we're gonna be talking about astrology, and our angels and demons. We're going to be talking about our natal charts, our birth charts, and why is that important? Why is that significant to know? I know for me personally, astrology has helped me tremendously with understanding who I am and how I can overcome certain characteristics that I have that I've displayed that the whole world has seen. Anger, emotional immaturity, outbursts, you name it, y'all see me punching people, kicking people, screaming and hollering through the process, right? And that's actually characteristics in your chart, like in your natal chart. A lot of people don't know this because a lot of people haven't been exposed to the more in-depth version of astrology. And I'm thankful for Chief for showing us this and really opening our minds to understanding astrology in this facet, because without him, we would still be studying our sun in goddamn Aquarius. We wouldn't even know the house. Right. So we wouldn't be able to go deeper in our charts to understand who we are and really tackle characteristics about ourselves that we may need to change and grow from and, cultivate so that we can be of service to other people in our lives that may be going through the same thing that we're going through. And I know for me, personally, again, I've been going through a lot of things that majority of humanity are dealing with. A lot of people have told me, like, you inspire me. I see you go through this, you inspire me to change and everything. And when I went back on my word and I came off the path, or I left Carbonation, so to speak, it discouraged a lot of people because I was actually being of service to helping people with those characteristics. Mm-hmm. And when I, turned back, it made people feel like they gave up because I gave up in that moment. And so being back on my journey, I have found the courage in myself to fight my demons. Not for anyone else, but for myself, because at the end of the day, I'm going to be faced with myself at the end of my life cycle and seeing what I did and what I could have did. And I'll be questioning, why didn't I go harder? Why didn't I take it more serious? Why didn't I evolve my soul the way I knew I was supposed to? And it's not for everybody to understand, because I have felt hurt at times when people have judged me through my spiritual development, through my growth. And but I forgive myself, and I forgive anybody else who have made mistakes in their journey, who's going through their spiritual development, because it's not easy. It's not an easy process, especially when you're in the age of Aquarius and you have so much information, and it's like a catapult into the future at a very, very short space in time. And I'm only 23. I'm learning stuff that 41-year-olds, 50 plus, you know what I'm saying, women are learning. They can't even get over. They don't even know about themselves. And at the end of it all, I'm thankful for my husband. I'm thankful for Chief for being here and steady giving me the patience and the wisdom and the knowledge and showing and opening my chart when I didn't want to open my chart. Showing me my debilitation, showing me my angels when I didn't have the strength to, so that I can overcome my demons and evolve my soul. I don't know nobody out here that's doing that for us in our black conscious community. You understand what I'm saying? So it's an honor for me to be able to have that opportunity and then have the opportunity to continue to share it with the world. And I just want to start off by saying that it's very important for everybody to know their astrology. A lot of people have misconceptions about astrology, and they think that it's a mark of the beast, or people sometimes they don't understand it enough. But I advise you to understand that astrology is a map of your personality. Astrology is like a map for your personality. It is the ins and outs of who you are. It is the the finite details, like intricate details of who you are, why you act the way you act, why you look the way you look, why you were born into the family you were born into, what's your purpose in life, what's the thing, your weakness, your strengths. This is what astrology is. And Babylon has only taught us our horoscope, sun in Aquarius, and what does that bring forth for the day. But it's deeper than that. You have planets, and all your planets are in signs, and all those planets in those signs are in houses, and all those all those positions have aspects under them. And then you have a whole another side of your chart where your houses are actually in signs, and so it goes deep. It gets deep, but I'm gonna hit the surface for right now, just to give everybody a clear understanding of how to study astrology and how to study your natal chart so that you can understand your angels and demons. First, I want to explain what angels and demons are, because then that'll give you a more, a better understanding before I start to teach you about studying your aspects. Your aspects in your chart, which are more intricate details outside of the placements that your planets are in and houses that your planets are in. These are the intricate details for your personality. So your demons would be the squares in your charts, the quincunxes in your charts, the oppositions in your charts, the inconjunctions in your charts, and then they also have like semi-sextile. It's very intricate, but these are the main ones: squares, quincunx, and inconjunctions and oppositions. These are your demons in your charts. Then when you look at your angels, you will see that your angels are conjunctions, trines, sextiles, and then there's semi-sextiles, but that's like more in depth, right? But we're just gonna go for the conjunctions, trines, and sextiles. These are the angels in your charts. When you think about angels, these are the things that are exalted in your personality. These are the things that you are good at. These are the good characteristics or attributes about who you are. And your demons are things that you struggle with. These are the things that you may not really like about yourself, and other people may not like it either. These are the things that we turn away from because we don't really want to look at how fucked up we could be. That's what your demons are. But I urge you that from personal experience learning my astrological energy, I'm glad that I had the opportunity to experience my demons at the capacity that I've had, because it has given me a chance to experience them enough to realize what they are and how they could possess me into doing negative things and self-sabotaging behaviors and stuff like that, to the point where now I have more determination to have control over it. Versus if they was never to show their face, then I wouldn't be able to have, maybe I wouldn't have enough willpower to acknowledge that I had something wrong with me. So that's what I've been going through. As everybody's seen, I've been going through my demons. I have Sun square Pluto, Moon square Ascendant, Moon quincunx Mercury. And I just want to say, like, majority of my aspects are in, the main aspect that I have is my Sun square Pluto. My Sun square Pluto gives me a destructive behavior. Like, I could have a destructive behavior. I could have a behavior that actually goes against myself. So I would be, what my goals and aspirations in life, I would consciously want to move towards that. But subconsciously, I would have self-defeating tendencies towards those goals and aspirations. So I would say stupid shit, hurt people's feelings, have mean behavior or aggressive behavior for no reason, just to sabotage whatever it is that I'm looking forward to have. And that has been one of the most, like, interesting and challenging aspects that I have, because it's in the sun. And the sun, we all know in astrology, that energy that's in the sun and the aspect that's in the sun, it permeates through all of the other planets. So that has been like the front or the face of my demon. And on the opposite end of that square from the sun is the Pluto. And, you know, Pluto represents death, transformation, and, you know, just transformation, rebirth, death and rebirth. And when it hits the sun in a square aspect, it makes it very challenging for you to be, you know, for you to, like, be able to stop being self-sabotaging, or it just gives you more of a ability to be self-sabotaging. And it goes more in depth, obviously, of course, but that's just the gist of Sun square Pluto. Very destructive behavior, very destructive energy. I could destroy everything in a moment. And other aspects that I have in my chart that are my demons are in my moon. So I have a lot of moon demons, a lot of moon debilitating aspects in my chart, where I have, like, a weird disposition with my emotions. Like, my emotions, I'm, like, super sensitive, and I get triggered very easily with certain things, with pretty much anything, actually. It even frustrates me how much I could be sensitive about just the littlest things. But knowing that, I start to, like, be able to identify what triggers me in the moment and why it triggers me from past traumas and things that I've been through in my childhood that gives me the ability to be like, all right, I know that just triggered me, but I know that stems from something, a traumatic experience that I had. And for me, my emotions, it makes me very, like, irrational. I can make irrational and life-changing decisions in a moment of anger. And that has been one of my greatest downfalls, other than my Sun square Pluto, because I'm very impulsive when it comes to my emotions. I react to things very impulsively. And I noticed that when I act impulsively, I tend to regret the decision that I've made, because it then leads me to, like, this place where I have to be faced with everything that I said and everything that I did from a hurt place or from a trigger place that I necessarily, it wasn't the totality of who I am and what I want and how I see myself and how I want others to see me. So I have legit created a reality for myself where people don't want to fuck with me because of this tendency. Like, I'll be in carbonation and I'll be like, I'm fucking with carbonation, right? And then I'll be triggered and be emotional, and then I'll leave carbonation and be like, fuck carbonation. And then everybody's like, yo, what's good? Like, you bipolar. And it's not so much that I'm bipolar, it's more so it's just I'm very, like, emotionally sensitive, and I respond to my emotions very impulsively. So I can make bad decisions in a moment. I could say stuff that's hurtful. I could do things that's not really aligned with who I really am. And yeah, I regret a lot of stuff, but I'm taking one day at a time to rebuild and reconnect with the relationships that I do have and that are still here for me. And like I said in the beginning, like closer to the beginning of this video, everybody won't understand though I still want to take the time for everybody to understand like my personality, because at one point in time I didn't understand my personality, but now I understand by studying deep in my chart why I have these tendencies like this. I'm able to come from a more logical place when I get emotional. I'm able to start detaching myself from my emotions and acting from a more logical headspace rather than from an impulsive emotional space as well. And some of my other demons are in my Mars. I have a lot of Mars aspects where it gives me this intense aggression, like this intense anger, to the point where I have like complete raw outbursts. Like if I'm emotionally triggered, I would get extremely angry, and I'm talking about angry to another level. Like I will fight you, like I will throw things and break things and like destroy my whole reality with my hands. And that has not been helpful to my progression, my spiritual development. It has not been good for my child, you know, Eliana's, for her to see that behavior, because then she's going to eventually, if I continue to have that behavior, she's going to think that that's okay. It perpetuates miscommunication, dis-ease in my own body, you know, mental dysfunctions, just thinking negative, thinking about the having a looking at life from an aspect of like half full, looking at the glass half empty. Half empty. And that has led me to really dark places. Like responding in my anger has led me to isolation, and in that isolation I felt depressed, I felt anxiety, I felt restless and nervous all the time. And I started running to things to like cope with my anxiousness and my irritability, to responding or learning how to respond to my environment and learning how to deal with that anger or those emotions when it come up. And when I left carbonation those 2 times, that's what I've been dealing with. And nobody knows that I dealt with that. Everybody think I was just like on some beyond frequency, you know what I'm saying? But no one knows what was happening in the background. And that's a part of the reason why I gave up beyond frequency, and I decided to come back to carbonation and work on myself, because I knew that that was not for me. Like I didn't care who the idea was for. I didn't care what was attached to it. It wasn't fulfilling my soul. And so I chose to make that decision for myself. Needless to say, last but not least, I have more demons in my Saturn. And we all know that the Saturn, it's a very malefic planet. It represents your, like a father figure, the disciplinarian in your life, like your lessons, the things that you're here to learn. And my Saturn is in Aries, in the 6th house. So my life lessons are surrounded by health. So when I'm not in my purpose and I'm not in tune with what I'm supposed to be doing here for humanity, I experience health issues, whatever it be, dis-ease, whatever. It can manifest in any type of way for myself. And these health issues, or my lessons in life in general, they come really fast because the Aries energy that's there. And it's hard lessons, it's hard health. Like I can become very ill if I don't grow, if I don't continue to evolve into my purpose. And one of the greatest demons that I have in my Saturn, which I did not even know, like I didn't even know this until the other day, and I really had to take my time to really read this, because I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. I said, no, this is not me. No. I was in denial reading it, you know. But I had to accept it, because, and before I go into it, I want everybody to know that there may be characteristics about yourself that you don't like and that you don't want nobody to know about. But it isn't until you embrace it, acknowledge it, and accept it when you can overcome it, so that you can be of service to someone else who may be going through that very same thing. I couldn't ever help anybody do anything if I never acknowledged what I got going on with me to overcome it. And the major aspect in my Saturn is it's a conflict of me going against my higher self. Now, I want everybody to understand that in carbonation, like Chief, he is our higher self. He is my higher self. Like, everybody is not around. People on the outside looking in, they're not on the outside looking. I mean, they're not on the inside, right, next to him, studying under him, getting, being trained by him spiritually. So they don't understand the mind space we come from when we say our higher self. And our higher self, that's the highest state of consciousness that we all are, that we're all going to have to come to at the end of our life cycle. And so it's in a being, and it's Chief. And he has helped me understand things about myself that no one, I'm saying no one, not a video on YouTube, not a video in Google, not a book of biology or anything like that, that could have helped me understand certain intricate details about myself. I mean, Chief tells me things that I seen that I haven't even read in my chart, and he has told me about myself, and I went back to reading my chart, and then I found out through my chart, and he's like, I knew without looking at your chart, because he is my higher self. He is the essence of what we all are, to raise the consciousness of humanity, to the Christ conscious. And so some people, it'll take time for them to understand certain things in their reality, as far as what things are symbolic for. Like, we're looking at reality from this face value standpoint, and like from the surface, and like looking at everybody as individuals, but really everybody represents something in your life. And Chief is my higher self. And I would also like to reference him to my super ego, my higher self, which is, or as like my super ego. I have an ego, which is my programming, my astrological programming. And outside of my programming, I am a super ego. I am everything. I am and nothing at the same time. So the aspect in my Saturn, I have a tendency to go against my super ego. I fight from being guided by my super ego, or transforming into my super ego and becoming God. You understand what I'm saying? So I have had struggles with fighting against him, and then doing my own thing and living my life the way I see fit. And it has always played unto my demise, because I have never gotten help from going against that aspect of myself. It always has led me down a dark path. It always has led me down a place of destruction, a path of destruction, a path of resistance. You understand? So once I pulled myself out of my ego, and I was looking at everything from a healthy perspective and from my godhood, it wasn't until then I realized what I was doing. And every day I get triggered. Like, still to this moment, I get triggered, and I have to deal with these aspects in my chart. And I have to realize, whoa, if I feel resistance, then that means that it's this aspect that's playing out, and I'm going against myself. And so I have to constantly keep myself in check, as so everyone else does in their reality. Now, with that being stated, now that I know my demons and what I can experience from letting those demons play out, now I have to look at my angels, and I have to say, wow, okay, what is working for me? What is, going to help me overcome these demons? And man, when I tell you, I got way more angels than I got demons. And I have not been given enough credit to my angels. I have not been given enough energy to my angels to even activate them. And for the last year, y'all have seen me give energy to my demons constantly. We done read it over. Everybody know my demons. Everybody know my triggers. But no one knows my angels. I don't even know my angel shit, Yeah. So I've taken the time to, I want to show y'all the, my angels right quick. I gotta, music off right there. But yeah, this is just a picture of my angels versus my demons right here. And today I actually took the time to read my angels because I was going through a moment today where I felt very resistant to self-growth. I felt very resistant to evolving my soul, and I was just like thinking, like I was in the mindset of like negativity, like straight negativity. And for the past couple of days, I was telling myself, like, you're going to read your angels. You're going to sit down and write all of them down and understand them. And these are my angels. And when I started reading my angels, I felt better about myself because I had been tearing myself down so much and consuming myself so much with my demons that I started feeling like shit. I started feeling like I was not worthy of the kingdom. I started feeling like I was not worthy to be Chief's wife. I was even questioning if I was Chiefess. Bro, that is in my chart. Like being Chiefess, communicate, like having good communication skills, finding solutions, being optimistic, seeing the life, the like life from the glass half full, being a leader. All of that is in my chart, and I was blown away. I was absolutely blown away because I'm like, yo, my reality is not validated that I'm Chiefess. Like, you know what I'm saying? And and I was even doubting myself because that's big shoes to fill because you're helping humanity. It's like being a mother and not being ready to be a mother in a way. You understand what I'm saying? Like if a woman ever felt that before, like becoming a mother and you weren't prepared. You didn't have the tools or the act, you know what I'm saying? You didn't really know if you had the capability to be. And so I've been struggling with that for a long time, and it made me question, like, back and forth, like, always constantly back and forth. And now that I've studied my angels, I'm very confident in who I am and what I know to be true about myself, because now I have a sound mind and confidence to completely be who I am, completely come into my purpose, completely share my gifts and everything that I have to offer to my family and humanity in a nutshell. So I'll go into my angels just a little bit, but I have a lot of aspects from my Mercury to some of my aspects in my Mars. I have good communication skills. I could be a very good communicator. I also, obviously, I'm a public speaker. I have good rapport with the public. Everybody could like pretty much understand what I'm saying. And I have like this natural rhythm and flow with people in general. And when I come closer into intimate connections, I become like a very a good counselor, if you will. A person who gives good advice and who is able to psychologically figure out someone else's mind for them to give them the help that they need to evolve their thought process or help them with their thought process. And I'm proud of that because I like to help people with them. Like I like to help people in that arena because it gives them hope. It gives them security in the fact of knowing that they have someone there for them when they can't do it for themselves. And I've been getting that. So I like to pay that forward. You see what I'm saying? And so also I have, it's so funny. It's so funny because I'm like a very dynamic person. Like I have two extremes. I could be super, super irrational or I could be super like understanding, right? But some aspects that I have in my Mars here, as you can see, I can have the tendency to have super self-control. Like I have the ability to have self-control and be able to handle myself and like emotionally handle myself and communicate my emotions effectively and handle everything properly, you know, and everything like that. And I thought that was interesting because I'm sitting there looking at myself from from the scope, and I'm like, bro, you tripping? Like you really be tripping? Like you be on some like you be tripping, bro. You be tripping. But I appreciate the experience because now I get to experience the characteristics of the other side of the debilitation, which is having the capacity to be understanding and communicative and everything like that. needless to say, when you look into my Jupiter, my Jupiter is lit. Like, I'm talking about super lit. Jupiter in Aquarius is like awesome. Like, I like Jupiter in Aquarius, but what really pushes that forward is Jupiter in the 4th house. My Jupiter is in Aquarius in the 4th house, right? And it really, the 4th house pushes the Aquarius because, you know, Jupiter is knowledge, expansion of knowledge, and the universe, so to speak, right? It's everything that you could know, like, in the universe, right? And when it comes into Aquarius, we all know that Aquarius is the mind. It is knowledge. It is vast. It is like occultism. And so in the 4th house, it brings this really like mother maternal instinct, like really like in the depths of the emotional occultism, like being attached to knowledge, being attached to like expanding my mind and looking for the opportunity and really seizing the opportunity to expand my mind and, you know, go deeper into soul development. And I'm so grateful for that because there are legit people out there who Jupiter is in Capricorn or in Virgo and they don't have the capacity to steadfast on expanding their soul or looking or having the determination to be like, look, I'm doing this by any means necessary. You know, there's in Babylon. And so my Jupiter is really set up in a way for me to succeed. It really like is set up in a way that I cannot fail. And I love that because I won't fail. Like, I will not lose. Like, this lifetime, I will not lose. And I hope that when I say that you say, like, you're hearing it in first party and not from, like, a separate, you know what I'm saying? Because we can't separate ourselves from, you know, people in our reality. We can't separate ourselves from our reflections in our reality. But
separation is not an illusion.
That's a fact.
I'm going to put it right here.
And when we separate ourselves from our reflections in our reality, it set us apart from understanding what life really is, from understanding what we're actually doing and who we actually are, and from knowing that we are all reflections of each other, just expressing ourselves in different facets of personalities, egos, as you like to call it. And I can also extend that to someone else. Me having that aspect, I can extend it to someone else, and that's the most beautiful thing about. Having my Jupiter placed the way that it is, because it not only benefits me, it benefits everyone else in my reality. And I also have Saturn aspects that help me be able to stay fast. Like, I have a lot of optimism. In my angels, I have a lot of optimism, a lot of discipline, a lot of determination, a lot of willpower, like a lot of energy to go forward in my journey and succeed in my journey and become who I'm supposed to become and live the way that I'm supposed to live. And yeah, and as a conclusion to all of that, how do I get this out? I'm gonna just leave it like that. I'm gonna just leave it like that.
Okay, I'm gonna show you though, so that you can do it. You press that.
Oh yeah, so I'm gonna just do that. All right, cool. So I'm thankful. So as a conclusion to everything that I just stated to everyone, I want to go into a little bit of depths of how you can find your angels and how you can find your demons in your chart, to understand yourself more within your natal chart. A lot of people ask me, NaNa, how do I read my natal chart? This and that. I'm about to give you the keys. Get your notebooks out. Get your pens, right? So what I've done personally to understand my natal chart, the way that I have, is that I literally take my time and I study every planet first. I study the sun and what it means. I study the moon, Mercury, Venus, and so on and so forth, to understand what these planets mean, so that when I read the sign, I could put two and two together and say, okay, well, you know, sun is vitality, Aries is energy. Okay, I got a lot of energy, Mom. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of energy. That's just an example. And so once you understand what all of the planets mean, then go into, if you want to take it slow with your chart, or if you want to just go straight into astrology, and because I would really advise everybody to study all the planets and then study all of the signs, even if the sign isn't in your natal chart, because it'll give you more of an understanding with other planets that you have signs in, so that you don't keep going back and forth, skipping stuff, you know what I'm saying, and have like too many notes in different places. So if you take your time and write all of the planets down and what they mean, write all of the signs down and what they mean, and then write all of the houses down and what they mean, and study that for a couple of days, you'll start to naturally understand what an Aquarius tendencies are, or what Aries or Pisces tendencies are, whatever sign that you are, along with the planets and then housing, of course. So once you have that all understood, then I would take my time to study. For instance, I would say Sun in Aquarius. I would study what the Sun or what Aquarius represents when it comes to the Sun, or vice versa, however you would like to look at it. And then I would study that, and I would say, okay, I would get a general understanding of what it means when the Sun comes into Aquarius. When I understand that, I'll go to my Moon. Okay, what does it generally mean when the Moon comes into Cancer? Okay, I understand that, and I'll do that with every placement that's in my chart. I'm not looking at the other stuff yet because I don't know about the other stuff yet. That's going to confuse me. So I'm going to just keep studying the planet and the sign that the planet is in. So now that I have that all down packed, I'm going to go back at the top of my chart and I'm going to say, okay, so my Sun is in Aquarius, but it's in the 5th house. So then I'm going to start studying what does the Sun mean when it comes into the 5th house. Then I'm going to study what my Moon is. My Moon is in the 10th house. Okay, so what does the Moon in the 10th house mean? And I'm going to put that together. Now, there are articles and videos that tells us, for instance, if I'm Googling or YouTubing Sun in the 5th house, but I want to look up Sun in Aquarius in the 5th house, you might find articles, you might find videos. So go ahead and take the opportunity to do that. It's a little bit harder, but don't get discouraged because you're going to have to do research to figure out who you are. It's not going to be, easy, and no one can do it for you. You're going to have to study who you are. You're going to have to read. When I tell you, I pretty much damn near read all of the articles that's on Google about Sun in Aquarius and Sun in the 5th house, and articles that I found about Sun in Aquarius in the 5th house. And I only tell you that because sometimes you might not find Sun in Aquarius in the 5th house when you combine everything together. So you're going to have to study it separately. So if you don't find articles or YouTube videos, you can make the connections yourself. Right. So then go ahead and do that for all of your other planets. Now, once you understand the placements, your placements and your housing, you got that all down pat, right? Right. So now you go to your aspects. It's more, if you have a tarot chart, it's down at the bottom. All those aspects that you see, Moon trine Uranus, and Mercury quincunx Jupiter, and all of that stuff, that is the intricate details into who you are, because I could be an Aquarius Sun in the 5th house, and so can you be Aquarius Sun in the 5th house. But what sets us apart is the aspects and the degrees and how it plays out. Is what makes us different. So once you go to the aspects, take your time and say, okay, I see that I may have a lot of trines. See what you have most of. Okay, I have a lot of trines. Go to Google and research what does trine mean. You read what a trine is. Say, okay, what's the next thing that I have most of? I got more squares. I got more squares. Okay, go study what a square is. And so on and so forth for whatever you see in your chart. Once you understand that, then you go to the first aspect and you say Moon conjunction midhaven. Okay, I'm gonna Google that, and then read all of the articles, watch all of the videos until you have a sound understanding of what it is. You cannot read one article and think that that's the end all be all, because every article gives a different perspective. They're all connected though. Now, you go ahead and do that for all your other aspects in your chart. Now, once you understand that's just for right now. Once you understand that, the gist of your natal chart in that aspect, watch yourself. You're going to start seeing these aspects play out. If not, they already played out, and you're gonna be reading it, and you're gonna be like, "Whoa, this is really me.
Yeah.
This is really me." And then you're gonna understand and find the significance in astrology and why it's so important. Why we study astrology. It is the fundamental basis of knowing thyself, to evolve your soul, to get you to understand who you are, so that you can know your weaknesses and your strengths, and to know where to relinquish what no longer serves you and exalt what does. Without knowing this, you will struggle knowing yourself. Period. And we see it on a daily basis. No one truly understands themselves because no one has a blueprint into their or scope into their personalities. And this is what astrology has done for me. This is what astrology has done for everyone in carbonation. And this is why Chief has taken the time to teach us astrology. Right?
Right.
Does anybody have anything to say about
Right.
this?
Beautiful.
Yeah, you said that was beautiful.
Said everything.
Okay.
On point.
I have dealt with my demons. I've been dealing with my demons, and now I'm overcoming it. I could be a very negative person. I could be a very malefic person, a very angry person, a very neglectful person. But now I'm moving out of that sphere, and I'm coming into the angelic, yes, the angelic part. You know, because people say you have two sides. You can have, everybody has evil and everybody has good.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? There's two sides to it. But it's whichever you choose. Now, I'm going to open the comments up. If anybody got questions, go ahead and drop the question. We're going to open it up for question and answer. You like to say anything?
You said pretty much everything.
I'm going to open the comments.
But if they have a question for me, then yeah.
We opening up for comments. Don't be disrespectful. If you be disrespectful, you will get blocked. And that's the end of my disclaimer. Okay. I see heart eyes. I see waving hands.
Yeah.
Question?
I'm not necessarily sure. I'm not 100% sure that I am pregnant. But there is a possibility. Right. I love myself. Naturally, Nisha. And we will save it. This video will be saved. This video will be on YouTube. If you want a reading, hit my inbox. I'm going to hit you up in my inbox. We are saving this live. Does anybody have questions? How long would you say it took to know yourself fully? It's an ongoing process.
Yeah.
Every day I'm learning about myself. Every day is new.
Yes.
Every day comes up different, and it's a journey. It's a journey.
Man, I don't think I'm over the first aspect.
Someone says, I really don't know how to start my natal chart. What do I do? Okay, so everyone who needs to get their natal chart, you need to I recommend you go to tarot.com, because this is the place where it's going to give you the most accurate reading and the more in-depth reading from any other birth chart interpretation that I've done on the internet. And it may cost you maybe $15 to $20 to invest in yourself. I love myself. I encourage you to invest in yourself, because you will learn about yourself and everything like that. So go to tarot.com. I think you make a profile, correct? On tarot.com,
Yes.
you make a profile. You look. It's obvious. You can see how the intricate details of the website work. But go, find your birth chart on there, do the calculation, and you pay for it with your debit card, credit card, or whatever you have. And then you they send it to you in email, and then you open it up, and there you go. And there's also they don't only give you the placements and everything and your aspects, they actually write it out for you. So when you go deeper into your chart, you can actually save the your chart as a PDF file in your iBooks if you have iPhone. I'm sure you can save it on your Android too if you have Docu5 or something like that. You can save it as a PDF file or something like that. Whatever app that you have on your Android to save it as a book. but you can read your aspects that they wrote out for you and what they mean and everything like that. So yeah, good luck on that. I hope that you invest in yourself because you won't regret it. And if you have deep questions about the intricacies about your birth chart or anything like that, or needing help Googling anything, just hit the inbox and I'll be able to tell you what it is. Okay, so someone says, how can I incorporate my knowledge of self into everyday being? It's important on a daily... Okay, so this is a journey. Every day we're living for greatness. Every day is a new day, a new chance, an opportunity to do the right thing. So say today I start out good. I start out in my godhood, and then something triggers me, and then I fall to my lower self. It isn't until then that I use the knowledge to get myself in a more healthier perspective to overcome that demonic thought or that lower self state that I'm in. The knowledge is going to help you and uplift you from your lower self. It's going to get you back to your godhood, to a more clearer perspective, a more healthier perspective about reality and what it really is and what we really are and who we really are. And you do that on a daily basis. It's not like you do it and then that's it and you can't go back. No, you are on a journey of proving yourself worthy. So you are constantly in battle with your own mind. And you work on yourself every day. And it's endless until the end of your life cycle, until you come to that part of your journey and you say, I'm proud of myself. I worked very hard to keep myself out of my lower self. And every day you are blessed with the opportunity from yourself. You have another chance and another opportunity to get it right, even if you didn't get it right the day before.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
And so,
I need that opportunity.
let me see. Someone asked what my sign is. My sign, I'm an Aquarius with a Cancer moon. I'm Aquarius in the 5th house, Cancer moon in the 10th house. So that makes me very
Contradiction. No, I'm just kidding.
contradictory. Seriously, because I could be very emotional or I could be very detached. Because the Aquarius gives me kind of like this detached beating to my own drum, like, you know what I'm saying? Then in the 5th house, it gives me a lot of energy, so I could be very energetic. I could be very extroverted. I could be very, outspoken and, out there. Then in the Cancer, it can make me, very emotional and sensitive and taking shit personal. But then when it comes in the 10th house, it also gives me, practicality. And I could have stability with dealing with my emotions and really being, structured and order and business-orientated and stuff like that. So it's a very dynamic.
So it actually can make you balanced.
Yeah.
Balanced personality.
Balanced personality. Oh, it says that in one of my aspects.
Yeah.
I can have a balanced personality. I have to cultivate that though, through experience and through understanding myself and learning myself and dealing with myself. I develop into who I really am. I'm not answering that. Yes, so someone asks, how do I put Washington, D.C. in tarot.com? Just pay attention to the fields, the fields and what they ask for. Just make sure that when you're filling out for your natal chart, and I just want to put this out to everybody, it is super important to know what time you were born, because this really calculates the aspects and the housing and the placements of the signs that's in your chart. Because when you don't know the time, it can dissociate the actual calculation of your natal chart. So please have your name, of course, your birthday, day, the month, day, and year, the time you were born, the city and the state you were born in, and then it'll calculate the longitude and latitude for you, because that matters as well. But if you have that, then you will be good. But if you don't necessarily know your time, because I do know people who don't have birth certificates with the time on it, try to ask your parents or your Babylon folk or whatever, where you portal through from, to see what time you were born. If they don't know, just go ahead and put 12 noon. It's not going to be accurate, but it'll give you something. And if you want more detail, if you don't have your time, I advise you to at least go back to the facility that you were born at to get documents on that information, or seek a professional astrologer that can help you figure that out. So, and there's professional astrologers out there. You just have to be willing to go on the internet and Google and search where you can go to find these people to help you with this. Okay, I really want to answer this question because this is a good question. Someone asked, they said, do white people have a higher self, or is their energy field limited to which they can only vibrate at low levels? Now, I want everybody to understand something. We all know that melanin gives us more of a connection to our higher selves, our super egos, what we all are, vibrating on different frequencies of itself, right? When we have more melanin, we are more in tune with that force. When you are less melanated, you could have an ability to be a little bit more disconnected from that energy source, spiritually, as far as like your soul, and being closer to that, you know, that energy, that super ego. You could be you could be disconnected, more disconnected than a melanated being. Though it is not always the case that we will look at somebody's melanin and say, oh, you're less disconnected than I am. Because there are actual people who have darker darker pigmented skin, who are less or disconnected, more disconnected than maybe a less melanated person would be. And this is determined off of your neuromelanin. Our neuromelanin is our astrological programming. It is the blueprint of our personality. So you may have a less melanated person, but their natal chart, which is their soul, their ego, could be more in tune than a person who has a chart that's more demonic and more more disconnected, you know what I'm saying, than that less melanated person's chart. So it really just depends on the astrological energy of the being to really understand that, you know, like that. But yeah, I do think that, you know, in certain place, in a certain time, the less melanated being has created a disconnected world from their higher self, which, you know, made every other being on the face of this earth succumbed and subjected to their lower self, just by opening up that door and letting us, you know, experience, and then us taking the bait and then saying like, oh yeah, I'm gonna pursue this, I'm gonna experience, I'm gonna, you know. And so it just depends. But that's what I think, and that's what Chief taught me. So, you know. Would you like to say anything? Because somebody said I'm rambling, so there's like, please let Malia talk.
No, you're not rambling. I'm listening, okay?
I am learning.
I'm learning, okay?
Togo chick, this is your warning.
You're rambling.
All right,
they don't belong in
they
the
say this your warning.
What was that Saturn
They're not
aspect
here
you were
for
talking
knowledge.
First time in Aries.
about? No, she was saying it was a Saturn aspect that she never looked at.
Does anybody have questions about astrology? Does anybody have questions about their natal chart? Because that's what we're talking about, and that's what I'm going to be answering questions on, or any question that is, you know, on the lines of astrological energy. I'm going to answer questions like that. But if it's outside of the topic, please save that question for another live, or until I speak about that topic, or go to our inbox and drop it in the inbox, and then we can have an intellectual conversation about whatever it is that you would like to know. But these questions, if you have a question about astrology, you know, yeah. Okay, so someone asks, what does D mean, And what does RX mean in motion means? Okay, so first and foremost, you can go on Google and look up what it means. You literally can, and that's why we have Google, so that we can, look up these things and what it means. But really, what the D means, it means direct. So if you have a placement and you see the D next to your placement, that means direct energy. That means it's like directly in motion, which means that it's like going one way. It's directing itself, right? And so that's going to be an energy that's very stable, very straightforward, so to speak. And when you see the RX, that means retrograde, which means that you have an ability to be going directed this way and then being directed that way. It depends on the house, the sign that it's in, because you may have Aquarius in a sign and then say RX, but then that means you could pull Pisces tendency. You could be directed, toward developing Pisces tendency, or in the other direction. It just depends on what it is. But it just means retrograde just means that it could go either way. It could be that energy could be directed either way and expressed through either zodiac sign that is positioned on opposite sides from that actual placement that you have. So yeah. But also, if you want to have more in-depth details about that, you can go on Google, and then it'll explain to you more in depth. Okay, now. Okay, debilitations are squares, quincunx, and conjunction, and oppositions. These are the demonic characteristics or debilitations that you have in your chart. Now that I've answered a lot of questions, I'm gonna see if anybody want to come live, right quick. Okay, well, no, I'm not gonna be interacting with men, because that's our line and that's not my place. If you want to ask a question, go to Chief's inbox, ask him the question, or when he's on live, then request to have a live with him. Anything outside of that, is not granted. So let's be respectful. Be respectful. But if any woman wants to come in and ask for a live and go and have an intellectual rapport, then that is accepted and encouraged. Okay, so Queen La Carol, we're got you. We're coming connecting with you now. Please reflection.
Oh, hey.
Here.
Hey.
How are you? You requested. You have any questions or?
Yeah, I got a question.
Input?
Okay. So I put it in the comment. I wanted to know, because my moon is in Gemini. I don't really know everything. I'm going to take all the stuff you taught today and apply it. But I do know my moon is in Gemini. So, what do you feel about that?
Ooh, Eliana, baby Eliana.
Because I'm a Taurus, but my moon in Gemini.
Yeah. Baby Eliana's Gemini, moon is in Gemini. And I really get along with the moon in Gemini. I like the moon in Gemini because I'm like with the moon in Gemini because when it comes to emotions, you can be detached. You could be a little bit detached, and the moon wants to feelize emotions. It wants to express the emotion. It doesn't want to be detached from emotion. It wants to feel. So when it comes into Gemini, Gemini's air is very detached, is intellectual more than feelizing with Gemini would intellectualize, basically. So on the contrast to being a little bit detached from your feelings, it does give you a very intellectual ability. You are a talker. You like to intellectually be with a person. You're like a mental person. You're mentally stimulated by things.
Right.
You prefer to be mentally stimulated by things. And if you're not, you could easily get bored and you could go seek to talk about things. You may be a person that seek knowledge and just constantly fill your mind and body with knowledge because I have one retrograde.
Yeah, I want to.
Yeah.
My lips.
We're gonna go ahead and do the Q&A now. Women only. Guys, please be patient and wait for Chief or any of the other disciples to get on live. You can ask them questions about your natal chart. They got the keys, to divine knowledge. So guys, if you have questions, please wait for the disciples or wait for Chief to be able to interact with you guys. Ladies, if you want to connect Q&A live, like I could let you in the room and we could talk verbally, like instead of me answering your question from reading it. Go ahead and send a request. I'll add you in, and then we could just go from there. All right, so I'm gonna let Queen Carol back in the room. We're waiting for you. We should be connecting any moment now. All right.
Okay, yes.